Hey there, thanks so much for clicking on our video. I'm Melissa.
And I'm Ashley, and we are the hosts of Bible and Banter.
Bible and Banter is a space for real conversations through the lens of faith.
We hope to be a reminder that we serve a good God
who left us a living word
to tackle all that life throws our way.
Hey, so let's get into it.
Let's go.
So let's get into what we're going to be discussing today. Today, we want to talk about finding your tribe.
Yes, absolutely. And we mean that in the sense of like, sometimes you really need to find friends for certain seasons.
Yes.
And sometimes you have a group of friends where you feel like the season might be a little up for them. Right, exactly. And not in the sense of, oh, it's time to start cutting people off. It's 2021.
Yeah.
But just in the sense of it's time to start setting new boundaries on certain friendships that are not feeding
the season that you're in right now,
Exactly.
I think that the best way to describe it is, in any season of life that you're going to have, right? There's going to be people who were there for you at that time that you feel a particular connection to, so you feel that emotional connection to them, right? Where you want to take them into this new season. But this is how I've seen it, and just growing in this area myself, I understand as an empath, as someone who just truly cares for other people and loves to connect with other people, that sometimes you can grow simultaneously, just not together. Kind of like, I give the analogy of like a tree branch, right? Still two grapevines that are growing, just in different directions. And you don't wish bad upon people because you wouldn't want them to wish bad upon you. But, for certain seasons, you really do just need to walk it out with a certain group of people.
Right. And we thought this was very relevant because, so we met in our church small group.
Yes.
I became a host of a small group through the small group initiative at our church, and she ended up joining my small group.
Yeah.
And so we call it a small group, but it's actually
There's a lot
big.
of us.
It's about 25 of us strong, right? It's small in comparison, but it's not like 5 or 6 people.
Right.
But the kind of common thread that we would hear of why people were even looking to join the small group is because they felt like either they were new transplants to the city, or they just felt like, hey, I just feel like I don't have any friends that are really walking this faith journey in the way that I am right now, or and really kind of just like pushing me, because it may be that they're college friends, so you grew up with them, maybe going out with them, going to clubs or whatever it might be, or you had just that common thread that weaved you together, which was being broke college students. Just struggling to make it right. And then now you're in this space now where you're like really, really growing in your faith, and you're like, man, I really want this group or friends who can really feed that area. Not that you cut off the college friends or whatever it is. It's just like, this is what you need for this, and then this is what you need for this season.
Yes.
And so, but how do you go about it? Like, a lot of people feel like it's really hard once you kind of step into that ghetto thing called adulthood.
Ooh. It is a
like, how do you really find your tribe now that you're kind of out in this world? And so that's what we wanted to talk about.
We're definitely going to dive into that, finding how. That is the number one question. I know for me, I had that question as well. How do you make friends as an adult, right? Because before, a lot of the friends that you made were situational. You were in the same place, same time, same age.
Same job, even same job.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just like very situational. And so you want to create and nourish deeper friendships, but you don't know how to go about it. And it's not like you can like walk up, hey, want to be my friend?
Right, exactly.
So I know for me, like when I was first coming into our small group, that was definitely where I was at personally. I had just kind of left a more toxic friendship, a couple of toxic friends, and I really felt I had my guard up a lot. I'm normally an open person, but I think just during that season of life, I was very guarded because I wanted to make new friends that I knew were going to be walking the same path that I was going. And it was not where I was. And so I knew it wasn't them, but I also didn't know what that looked like for me or what these new friends would look like. So that was part of the reason why I joined the small group, was because I'm like, well, if nothing else, I know these people at least have the same mindset as me, is like they are also trying to live for Christ and trying their best to make their way in this world.
It's just really good to have a community to fellowship with, and if that's what you are looking for, start with a church small group. And hey, if your church doesn't have a small group, you'd be surprised how many churches have small groups that aren't specific to the members of their church. In fact, that's how it is with our church.
Yes.
Not most of, but there are quite a few of the people in our small group who do not attend the same church that we do. They just joined. It actually ended up being maybe a friend from our church brought them to the small group, and sometimes they outlast the person
who's been at the church.
Who's been at the church. We lose them, but we gain a new friend, and they go to a different church. So also just look into that. Look at the different, especially it's really common for the non-denominational churches to have some sort of small group situation, and don't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the only one who doesn't know anybody. Listen, we all went to the same church, and I didn't know any of them.
No one knew anyone.
No one knew anyone unless you were coming into the group with someone.
Yes.
So we all went into it knowing that we don't know anybody here.
Right.
Because
so I'll be the only one who doesn't know anyone.
Exactly.
Believe that.
Exactly. So in fact, like the guy that I started it with, we did it as co-host of this group, and he was already like leveling my expectations, because I'm just always like, Melissa knows, with anything, I'm like, we gotta lay out the strategy. Right. And he's just like, settle down. It's gonna be 5 of us, including the 2 of us. And so I was like, you know what? You're right. When I say our first meeting, it was about 30 people strong that showed up. That's how many people are desiring community. And these are 30 young professionals, right? That are just like, no, I need community. And then we thought, okay, this, just because we first launched, after that it's gonna die down. It was consistent.
It really was. So there was like no less
exactly.
than 20
So
there.
Just know, just like you were in search of community, there are so many others that are in search of community too. So,
and I wanted to hit on the point, Ashley. So my thing is, I know the type of person who clicked on this video, because I am you, and I understand that, you know, if you're anything like me, you're a very friendly person. You want to go along and get along with everyone. But I will say this, even in Christian-based communities, right? Just because there were 20, 30 plus of us does not mean you're going to leave with 20, 30 plus best friends. Okay. So let's go ahead. I'm going to be the victor in this, right? And I'm going to set the tone for you, because although you want to be friends and like, or maybe you are coming in a little guarded like I was, as long as you can even get one good friend out of the group, I think that's the goal. You know, it's just to have one good person that you know, like, this is my person. This is my person who's looking out for me. They see me for who I am. They have my best interests at heart. I have their best interests at heart. Not everyone's going to see the world the way you see it, and that's okay. That's what makes it so wonderful and so diversified, and that's what you want. So.
Yeah, and I'll say, coming from the opposite end, even though I did walk in as a host, this really was the beginning of God bringing me out of my comfort zone, because I am friendly, but I am actually an introvert. So the thought of just being around so many people, like in my mind, like, this is about to drain the life out of me. But what ends up happening, for one, it was such a good group of us that you didn't feel compelled to have to necessarily give to the conversation when you're first being introduced, because it was just so, like, there was so many, and it was just really just nice to kind of be an observer. And then our time to shine as introverts is at the end of it, when people break into the smaller groups. We find your person, like she said. So just know going into it, if you're like, oh goodness, I don't want like 20 friends, that's not what I'm. Listen, I have about 2 or 3 of them that I know, like, this is my person. And so whenever I feel like I just want to get together with someone, I just want to go grab lunch, I just want to get out of the house, even though as an introvert, I love being in my home. Listen, I created a space all for me, and I love it. But sometimes I'm like, all right, Ashley, it's time to go see what that sun feel like and see what civilization is doing these days, you know? And so I have my couple of people that I'll reach out to without feeling like pressured that I need to always be going to gatherings gatherings of like 20 people. And our group is really good about that.
We really are.
We're good with breaking off, and not into cliques, because we leave the high school stuff behind.
Strange to me, especially someone who came from something like that. It's like you have those traumatic events in your mind, so sometimes your mind makes up like, well, are they all hanging out and I'm just not being invited to things because that's happened in the past. And that is one thing that's been really refreshing with this group, which we can't speak for all community groups everywhere, but for ours in particular, it never gave off. This is the
right. So you can't sit with us group.
Yeah, this in the holy group. You know what I mean? It's like,
and you know what? We were really intentional about that. Me and the co-host that I had. The first thing we said when we got together, and it was really like, it was so millennial sometimes when I think of it, because we were like, listen, we're not doing our group. We're taking off the fake church mask, and fake in the sense of feeling like that to be Christian is to show perfection and that you're flawless and that you're always doing everything right and to be self-righteous. That mask, when I say
we don't do that.
We're not doing that. We're bringing real, like, listen, we're all out here struggling with real temptations. We're all out here having bad days, even though we're supposed to be blessed and highly favored. Look, my car was towed. This job is tired.
And
I'm not a good day.
And I'm frustrated. And I'm angry.
Right, and not that we sit and fester that, no, we feed into it and we fuel each other, but we recognize, listen, some days I'm not going to be the one coming up in here quoting Proverbs.
Right.
Sometimes I need you to speak into me, you know what I mean? And so we were like, we're not coming in with the fake church mask and putting on this whole facade of everything is great and I'm always in a season where I'm in blessings. No, we know that not to be true, because the Bible says that we're going to go through trials and
that's guaranteed.
And we're here to do life together. So make sure you do assess like any group that you get a part of, because like she said, we all know, listen, we're human. And so look, it can have Christian all up and through the title of the group, all on the church website, and you get there and you don't see God in
There's
it.
not one Jesus in there. It's like, so where am I?
Like, so Pharisees, huh? No. About these Pharisees. No. So, just make sure that you find the group for you, and don't put a one size fits all just because if you try out one group and it's not for you. Like, move around.
Keep moving, girl.
We've had people come in our group, we've seen them one time and ain't seen them again.
It. And no hard feelings.
And no hard feelings, because look, we want you to go find the group that is for you, And so the small group is one route to take. The other thing, even if you're not ready to go full on diving into, it just isn't your comfort zone to just walk up into a group. Just if you're like me, and I don't know if you were too, but and you attend church solo, like be a little more intentional whenever you go to church. Like, see if you spot out someone else that looks like they might be alone, and go sit. I know now, we're dealing with pandemic,
maybe
so you might not, you can't sit right by them, but the seat over. Like, start trying to make sure you're navigating towards people who also seem to be sitting alone, and don't just up and bolt out like I used to do. Like, as soon as they're like, all right, and then after altar call, like, you didn't even stick around for altar call. You already got your finger up, sliding on out.
Branch.
Like, exactly. Hang out after church for a little bit and see who you end up having conversation with. Even if it just starts out being an usher or a greeter or just whatever it might be, or you just happen to see, or just start conversation. I'm just like, oh, I really like that sort of, what's that?
Exactly.
Faith over feelings. Yeah. Like,
easy conversation.
Just start conversation. Like, just be a little more intentional, just like you would with other areas of your life. So don't feel like you have to go searching for a small group. Sometimes it's just sticking around and not just immediately just putting yourself in a space where you can connect.
Exactly. That's perfect. That was really good. I will say maybe to end it is just to keep an open mind, I feel like, because like I said, prior to me entering this community group, I definitely had not a hardened heart, but I think I did have my guard up, and I had no expectation going into it. So I'm not saying that's the place you need to be, but if you find yourself in that place, I would say I did have no expectation, but I did have my heart open and my mind open a little bit to, like, I want to be able to receive what I know I can get from a truly godly friendship, a truly godly community of faith-filled believers that are also trying to do their best in this lifetime. So that's that's the number one thing that I could maybe give you going into it. And sometimes there is a season where you just need to kind of be alone and be to yourself. But when you are ready to take that risk of, you know, getting to know somebody else, just know that there are really good people out there. You know what I mean? Look at me and Ashley's.
Right? I would have never found her. I would have never found her.
If we wouldn't have like taken that time to really, you know, for her to be the host of the group, for me to take the chance to get in the group.
And listen, and we didn't even go in, and don't think it's a situation where you go in with this ulterior motive. Listen,
absolutely.
We're 2 years into our small group.
We had no idea.
Just now. Yeah, I didn't know that. I hadn't even started my blogging or doing any type of content creation at the time. I don't think Melissa really was out there doing it. And then it just kind of happened that separately we started doing our own thing, and then
we were like, wait a second.
I'm like, wait, we're kind of kicking off the same.
I know she's talking about the same stuff that I'm talking about.
The same type of information. You know what I mean? We're both Christian bloggers. You know, we're both content creators. We both have this marketing background, and we both our personalities are similar enough to that we would have a good time, but we're also different enough that we serve different purposes and we bring different skill sets to our channel and to really just building this brand together. So so you never know the magic that like God places everyone in your life, and then like I said, then you have the people that you connect with for very different reasons.
Absolutely.
So just it's so much diversity, and like God has really put so many different types of people in my life for so many different reasons, and that just inspired me in so many different ways.
Oh my gosh.
And
that's how you know it's God working in your life, because it's like our God is not cookie cutter anything.
Listen,
he's a very unique God. He's a very intentional God, and very specific to who he puts in your life for the purposes they have. And even if you had a bad experience in the past, that was specifically for you to have, so you can know what going forward you will and will not deal with. And so you can take it as a lesson, as a blessing or whatever, or see it as something that's just going to destroy you, but it's a choice either way. All right, y'all, tune in next Sunday as we dive into another real and relevant topic. We are hitting on everything ranging from like relationships, friendships,
to navigating careers and navigating corporate America as a Christian. All of it. So, but in the meantime, please, please, please always remember that Jesus loves you.
We love you.
And you are more than enough.
Thanks. Bye.